Okay, seed time is here. It's time to get your seeds prepared. Go ahead and get them start growing. I've already got some in. I got some peppers in, and then so we got some flowers started. And now I'm going to go ahead and start some tomatoes. And I was going to show you, basically some of the ways that I actually do it. And everybody's got a different way, so try not to judge me on the way I do it. Seems like it's very successful the way I like doing it. So I'll go ahead and get started. What I want to do is I got a pan now. I make mine all out of soil blocks. This is the real they call them micro. They're just tiny little blocks of soil you can make out of it, or you got the bigger ones, which this here's kind of dirty a little bit. I need to clean it up. You can make the bigger blocks out of here, and they also have different types of end pieces that go on it. They have the square ones where you can make the big blocks, and then you can set the small blocks down in it. But I just do the small blocks. The big blocks, if it's like big seeds, say I'm gonna do like like zucchini or pumpkin, watermelon. The big seeds. I'll use something like this for the big seeds. Since they're tomatoes, I can use the small seeds. Now, one thing nice about using the soil block, and then it is, because I make my own soil, so all my own potting soils myself. Now, you can buy the regular potting soil. The thing I like doing with my soil, of course, here, in order to make them, I have to wet it, put it in here and put some water and make it moist, and then make the blocks. But when you use a bag of soil too, if you use one, say you go out and buy a seeding bag, I think I probably got a couple around here somewhere that I sell sometimes, but you can use those too. But I would recommend you to, before you stick them into the little trays, is to make it moist. Now, the reason why I like making it moist before I put it in, not a lot of water, just a light bit of water, just to kind of make sure that it's moist, and then before you put it down into your little, let me get them here, your little tray cells, something like this, and then a lot of times you just use that potting soil or that seed mix, and you put it inside of here, and then you put your seeds down in it. Well, if you do that, I like taking the soil itself, the potting mix, and put it into another container and put a little water and mix it up, okay, and then place it in here, and then put my seeds in. I know it's a little bit more messier to do it that way, but if you take your time, your seeds are going to germinate a lot faster. I mean, a lot faster. By doing it that way, because you're already moistening up the soil, and then when you wet your soil down, the seed's going to have more moisture. It's going to be able to saturate more of that water than waiting for that water to either come from the bottom up, or you're adding water, moist water to the top down. So I always thought that was a lot faster to get your seeds to get them moist. Some people take seeds and they'll put them in water, or they'll put them in like a napkin, a wet napkin or something like that overnight, and then bring them back out. I see that as a fast way to germinate your seeds, to get them to grow very fast. But then when you stop and think, it's like, well, it's very time consuming, and I know how to water, how much water I need to put on my plants to get them to grow, to get them to germinate, and when they start growing, what to do after that. Because there's a lot of different steps to start seeds, and that's one thing, is you got to make sure that seed is moist and it stays moist in order for that seed to germinate. You don't want to dump a lot of water in it, but what happens is, if you take a little time and just make 2 or 3 different trays and do it 2 or 3 different ways, you're going to find your way that you like, and what's more successful for you to plant your own seeds, and then you'll enjoy it. But it takes time, everybody. It takes a lot of time to learn your way, because I think every way is different. I mean, truthfully, it's similar to the same, because you're putting seeds in these trays, you're putting seed starter, but I don't really believe in the the point that people say, well, you need to go get that bag of seed starter because your seeds are not going to start. I don't think that, because I don't do that. I make my own. Because they didn't do it years and years ago. It's not like, you know, they had a Walmart or Lowe's next to them back in the, you know, say the beginning of 1900s or so, or even the 1800s. It's not like they got that seed mixture to make. So I don't know where they're getting at it. I think that's just something they're, you know, they sell. So, but you can do it. My parents, I can remember us going out in the woods and getting certain types of, let's say like an old stump that was rotten that had that turned red. You know, we would dig some of that up, and Mom would use it in her flowers, mix in her flowers to see. So there was a lot of stuff out in the woods that they've done years and years ago. You just gotta research it, find out what works for you, and then give it a try. I mean, it's not gonna hurt to give it a try. Now, I like using, when I start my seeds, my seed blockers here, I like using warm water. Okay, so my seed mix is right here, and this is the way mine is, and I don't have any problem whatsoever starting my seeds. So and the ingredients I have in here, which some people say, well, you know, it doesn't grow and this doesn't grow in that. Well, it might not grow for them, but it does for me, or it does for you, or somebody else. So that's the thing about planting, is that, you know, you got to find your own way that you can make your plants grow, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time. There's a lot of information that comes over YouTube or even on the internet, and my true belief is it's you yourself that has to make that decision. If you want to grow something, you know, you have to put that, you know, that energy into it that you really want to grow. I mean, that's just naturally, I think that's the way everything goes. So let me go ahead and get this bucket down. Now I use just this is a cat litter box. I had another tray here somewhere, and I really liked it. I used it last year. I really liked it, and I can't seem to find it because you need a flat bottom for these. You need some way, because you're gonna press down on this, and you're gonna kind of twist it a little bit. And in order to do this, you really need to get, you know, this flat. And here's some soil I had in there before, but some people say, well, you know, that's not good for it. But see, I use not hot water, not boiling hot water, but, you know, pretty warm water to kind of sterilize anything in my tray. If there's any type of bacteria or anything left in it, it kind of, you know, kills it off a little bit. Plus, it's nice to work with warm water on your hands and then cold, you know. To make the soil blockers itself, like I said, you just got to get them moist enough that soil blocker is going to make the blocks. And you know, you might have it too wet. You might get it not wet enough, and that's okay, because, you know, you can either add water or add more soil. And then, you know, just use your hands. I try not to use my hands for too much, but I don't see where it hurts actually the soil, you know. I do not handle seeds with my hands. And you just kind of get it moist. Add some more water to that thing. Whew. Taking it up today. So you're just kind of playing in the mud is what it is. So now you can make your own soil, you know, starting soil. You can look up online. There's some recipes online, and a lot of different ones actually. I mean, That's because, like I said, it's worked for other people. And when you find out that there's always like different recipes of soil that people make, then you know for a fact you don't have to go out and buy a bag of potting soil, or not potting soil, but a seed starter to actually start your seeds. I mean, if there's that many people out there making up soil themselves, like I said, I think that's just a big sell thing that they say, well, you have to go out and buy that. No, you don't have to, because I don't. I mean, you know, I make mine from what type of material I want to buy and put in it that I know that it's going to do it right, the way I feel. And it works. Okay, it's just like a big mud cake here. That water come up through there. Let me drum it, work my hands off here. I always keep a bucket of water beside, so I can rinse my hands, or, you know. Okay. My glasses over here. Now, you can see here, these are the little trays that I actually made here, and I made a video on that a little while back. And then, of course, I put a liner in it. Okay. And then we're just gonna squish down until these things come out. You can see. Okay, you can see this is the little soil blocks, and I could put with just the blocks itself and making this, I can do 320 plants. Put one this way. So if you're looking at it, you got these are 20 in a block. It's 20, it's 40. Right now I got 60 plants right across here. That's a lot of plants, you know, to start your garden. 60 plants right there. So if a person would do soil blocks, they can pretty much do this one tray, 320 plants. You can probably do your whole garden. But once they get so big, you do want to separate them. Now, reason why I do the soil blocks instead of just, because I have the trays, don't get me wrong. Let's see. You know, I have these where I could put these in there, but I don't use the trays because I can do more planting with the soil blocks, because like I said, 300 out of, I think, 72. These might be a little less than 72 because they're 4s. I think the other one's 72s. This might be 48s or something like that, or something, you know. But I can get a lot more plants in here because I get rid of the plants, you know. Sometimes you gotta pat it in there. You want to make sure it's pretty full. Now, if I lose a couple little blocks, it's not a biggie for having that many soil blockers in, blocks in there, you know. So that doesn't mean too much. Now I'll do this tray and nothing but tomatoes, and then probably I'll end up doing probably 2 or 3 of these trays, nothing but tomatoes. See, one fell out. I'll just put her down in there. Now I could go a little faster on it, but I'm just kind of taking my time so you can see. Okay, now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Put one more in there. Now, if you're not going to plant a lot of plants, you know, you have a small garden, you probably don't want to go this way. You want to go, you know, with the tray. So, you know, you want to kind of stick with that. But I think I should have a pretty good order this year on plants. Every year it seems to increase. Of course, you know, people are trying to save more money because the cost of food has climbed. And I don't know about a lot of people, but I don't get no extra nowhere. I have to go and get my own. See, just off a little bit right there. Good mixture today, really good mixture. I like it. The water's coming through the tops of it. But you could go online and look for these if you're going to do a lot of plants. You can look for these soil blocker makers. They have a lot of them on there. Just I waited until mine goes. I think it dropped down like 40% or something like that. And then I bought extras, so I have more than just a couple of these. The reason why is because I do this all the time, so I figure, well, I better have some backup ones. And then, like I said, it has those little tips in them that you can do different things. Like you can use them for small seeds or big seeds. But these here, you can see how small they are, and they have little dimples in them. That's the tool itself makes those. And then, of course, you just put your seeds inside of those. There, press them down in. Then read on your seed package, and it'll tell you, you know, how many seeds, you know, how deep you're supposed to put those seeds down in there. A lot of them's a 1/4 inch, and you know, and I normally just press them down in there a little bit, not too far. I'll show you how to do that here in a second. Let me get this here's done. Okay. Now, let me turn this sideways. Okay, what I did is I bought, well, I actually bought, these dye rods, is what these are. A couple small sticks. I don't like touching the seeds with my hands. Now, if you want to use rubber gloves, make sure that the rubber gloves doesn't have any type of powder or oil on them. Because, you know, you're going to end up touching those seeds. So I never touch my seeds. So I made these, and like I said, they're made out of dye rods. You can pick them up at Walmart. They're pretty cheap. Cut them off, maybe take a knife and sharpen them. And I have a little, on the end of it here, it's kind of flat, a little bit on one end. This is a bigger one. Of course, I like the smaller one. And then your tomato seeds are, I put them on a tablet like this right here. And like I said, they're really small. Right here is your real small tomato seeds. So, you got to get this thing a little bit wet. So in order to first start them, you know, you just kind of go down in it. You want to put a little, I always put like a little indentation in them so I can get the seed down in it a little bit further. And then I just grab a hold like this. And then grab another one. And it is, yes, it's going to be time consuming to put all these in there. But each one of these, normally each one of them comes up. I don't have too many of them that doesn't come up. Because I'm putting in, you know, 300. And I just dab them like this, and, you know, it's nice to keep those little holes. It's like I said, it is time consuming. You will be here for a while. But once you get it done, it's really nice. I mean, you're kind of pleased. Now I know there's a lot better way of doing this. And if you end up getting 2 in a hole, don't worry about it, because don't even try to take it out. Just leave it in there. Because when the plant starts growing, you'll be able to remove it. I mean, most of the time, if I get a double in one, I'll be able to, you know, tear that. Even the small, the little, these little things there, even the small ones, you can still get them out. You know, break them apart. And I'll spend, I don't know, a couple hours. I'll try to do maybe about 4 trays today, and then I'll get these set up. Let me show you, before we go too far, and I'll show you what they look like once we get them when they first get started, because I have some peppers here. Okay, here's the peppers, you can see, and pretty much all of them's coming up. They're still coming up. There's some down in here, some here, there, a whole bunch of them. If you look in here, you can, I don't know if you can see the wee little pieces all coming up through here, little sprouts. So yeah, this is going to be a nice full tray, and this is a red and green pepper. This is a really good pepper. Peppers take a little bit longer to germinate, so if you put peppers in and you start them by seed, give it a little bit of time. So if you happen to you know, put in peppers, they do take a lot more time to germinate. Some plants take a couple days, some takes a little bit longer, and especially peppers. So that's why you plant your peppers before you do your tomatoes, and just keep them going, keep them warm, keep a light on them there, and you'll eventually learn how to do it. I'll make another video and show you some other little tricks and stuff that I do to get mine to grow faster, to germinate faster in our next video. So the basic thing today is to make soil blockers, and I'm doing, like I said, 320. If I finish filling it up, I think it's probably maybe another 10 onto that, maybe, you know, that I can still plant. But like I said, if I get 300 plants out of a tray, and then I would split 300 plants up in maybe like the 6s for like tomatoes, you know, you got like you'll have like 72, I think, in a tray. So that's 72. So it will take 4 trays of tomatoes. I'll get out of this one. So I mean, that's a lot of tomatoes. So each one of these will be 12 6-packs in one tray. I'll get out of here 12 6-packs in one tray, and I'll get at least 4 or 5 of them out of here. So that's pretty good, you know, head start when you're trying to get them to germinate. But once they start germinate like that, these are getting ready to be transplanted. It won't take long for, you know, I would give it another week, and we're going to be transplanting these at least another week, because I don't want them getting, you know, root tangled up or anything. So probably about another week or so, or maybe 2, maybe they're going to be ready to transplant into. Now we put ours into 4s because your peppers like a little bit bigger pot, so we'll be putting them into these trays here, and it'll give me about 4 trays. That's a lot of trays. I mean, that's a lot of plants, especially if you're just going to do it, you know, if you're doing it for yourself at home. And I have I got 4 of these trays in there right now. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and I'm going to end up doing another tray, and then I'll get this done today. And then I'm going to make another video on some of them I have already germinate like this, and how I transplant them out of this into the different containers. And we're going to show you guys a little bit of another little trick, but it'll be in the next video, a tip on how to get these to germinate faster, where I don't think anybody showed it yet, but we're going to show it, and we're going to teach you guys how to do it and get them started. Okay, thanks for watching. If you got any comments, leave them down below. We'll see you.